Okie dokie. Let's see. Where are we? Let me find my, here we are. This one. Oops. Okay. So we are all set. We're live on YouTube and we're recording. So you can call it to order.
Okay. Calling to order the November 3rd, 2021 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. This meeting is being held as a virtual meeting as authorized by the Office of the Governor. And we will start with, the roll call. Those who would like to listen and or participate, although there's no public hearing, no public speaking tonight, is there?
No, I don't believe so.
Correct.
No.
No public hearings tonight.
Okay, so those that would like to listen in, feel free to do that either on YouTube or on the link for what's a silly thing? Zoom. Yeah. All righty. First things first, the roll call. Here we go. Miss Hofstetter.
Here.
Mr. Keel.
Here.
Mr. Sylvain.
Here.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
And Chairman Fernaldi is absent this evening. Joel Urice is here, acting chair. And Mr. Haas, would you sit in for Mr. Fernaldi tonight?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. Okay. First things first. Acceptance of the minutes from October 20th. They were distributed to all members that are here this evening. And unless there's a change or a correction, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
And Mr.
opposed?
Chairman, sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead. I just wanted to note for the record that I did watch the full meeting.
Okay, thank you
Ready
very
for
much.
tonight.
Thank you very much. Do we have, did I do everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did everything we needed to do there. Okay, so the meeting, the minutes are accepted. And we'll move on to, there are no public hearings at all tonight. There's no continuation or new public hearings. We go directly to the first item of business, old business for discussion and possible actions. The James Plaza LLC application for special exception, revised site plan approval to permit storage of concrete aggregate and manufacture of concrete and concrete products, storage of bituminous products, storage or sale of building materials, and storage of construction equipment. The James Pool Industrial Site in the IG 80 zone, 44 Payne Avenue, lot N12004, special exception 776. Ms. Erminger.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, sorry. So if the commission wants to, so the commission closed the hearing, the last meeting, the October 20th meeting. I believe you wanted to have a full board, make sure everybody was present to provide guidance. So, I certainly open it up to the commission members. Let me know your thoughts, and there's specific conditions you want to see in the approval. Let me know what you guys want.
Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman.
Yes, Bob.
So my comments are, I'm okay with the proposal. I think there's a couple of conditions we talked about last time that the applicant was okay with, which such as limiting the size of the concrete mixer to I think it was 2 or 3 yards size, and also limiting the size of the stone cutting tool, hand tool, which I think was the size of the blade. It might have been 18-inch or 16-inch blade, something like that. So those two conditions, I think, ought to be in there. We're also waiting for, I don't know, 3 or 4 comments to be sure that Kelly was okay with the latest response from the applicant. So just want to make sure that as long as those are acceptable to the engineering department, I think everything else was in order. The only other the other item, I guess, that I wasn't sure of on the dividable or the mountable divider on the driveway, I think everybody was okay with that, but I just wanted to make sure that all were okay with what was proposed there. Other than that, I'm and standard terms and conditions, I'm okay with the application. I think there was, sorry for adding on. I think there was one more item, the scope of the work, I think, was going to be sectioned off so that certain things were going to be done first or needed to be done first. And I think that was kind of on Jen's list, so I'll leave it to her on that. And that's all I had. Hopefully that made sense.
Did, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to say I piggyback Bob's comments there that, you know, I will go along with recommending, you know, approval for this based on the conditions that he's already laid out. I don't think Jen has any other outstanding issues that we haven't discussed already. And I guess you're shaking your head there. So that's,
No.
so everything's been accounted for. So based on those conditions, you know, I would approve it from my perspective.
If I may, I would also piggyback on those comments from what I
Okey-doke.
saw and heard in the last meeting. Those were the conditions that were still outstanding and needed to be included. And so long as they are, I would also go along with approving this. And yeah, I'd be curious to hear as well that the engineering department's concerns were all satisfied, but otherwise, yeah, I'm good to go with this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any others, commissioners? Okay, if not, my comments are pretty short. Pretty much just mirroring everything that's been said so far. There was one thing I didn't hear mentioned was the screening. And I believe that needs to be done in the first phase so that we're not looking at all this stuff going on from the road. The mountable divider, I thought that was supposed to be a phase 1 item 2. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, Joel, say that again.
I said the mountable divider. I think that was supposed to be phase 1 also.
You know, I'd have to go back to double check. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have them do the concrete work while they're doing construction on site. But I can go through that with the project team. And I have to go back to the site plan to see what was noted for the scope of work for both phases. But I can work that out with the project team.
Okay.
Again, I'm not interested in having them do it twice and destroy it during construction.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so long as Kelly is signed off on all the loose ends we had this last meeting, I'm pretty much good to go. But I just would caution the applicant. There's very, very little leeway from varying from what has been put and will be put on the plans.
Joel, if I may, I just want to clarify. So the letter that we received from the engineering department from Kelly, it had a handful of outstanding comments. Those cannot be resolved until after the approval is granted because we've closed the hearing. So the applicant can't address those issues. But again, as we normally do, we condition her letter, and it allows the commission to approve pending sign off from the engineering department. So again, the reason we kept it open all that time, well, not all that time, but over, I think, 2 meetings, waiting for those revisions to come in, was so Kelly was comfortable in a position that, whatever was left was just minor, very minor things that can be easily addressed. So once we got to that point, she was comfortable saying, yes, you know what, close it. She didn't see any issues. You could approve it pending, resolving those few minor issues. Again, after the approval, the applicant would come back in with another revision that would satisfy those straggling comments. So I just
Okay.
want the commission to know that it's not what we call a clean letter.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have been more clear on that. Subject to cleaning up all of these loose ends that to the satisfaction of building services and engineering.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, usually it's prior to the issuance of any permits. Provide evidence that you've obtained, a letter of a clean letter, basically, from the engineering department. There was one other, and I had it in my notes from the last meeting, the limiting activities. Sorry, I'm trying to read my notes. Activities limited to behind the building. I think that was Helen's comment, if I remember correctly.
Sure.
Where most of those construction related activities were going to happen behind the building. We weren't going to see them in the front.
I believe
Yeah, I think
not just construction, but also repair.
Yes, thank you. So construction and repair. Okay. And then, as Joel said, I'll certainly have, sorry, I'm just making some notes. I'll have the language in there concerning the phasing, and the screening, and as well as pruning back that hedge along Payne Road. And they have notes on the plan, so I'm just going to likely mirror those same notes that I had, that Ralph put them, that he'd put on his plans. And I think that is, sorry, I'm just going through my notes from the last meeting. Everything that the commission said with respect to restricting the size of some of that equipment, the mixer and the stone cutting tool. And I think we can easily condition the operations plan that the project team worked on through this whole application. They've tweaked it as the commission's gone along through the public hearing process. So we can easily condition that and make sure that they're abiding by the operation plan. And I think that's really it. And everything else, just the standard conditions that you would normally see.
Mr. Kiokio, you had a comment?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay. On the operations plan, I hadn't thought about handling it there, but I think we need to specify in there, it's a single mixer of so many yards and a single cutter.
Okay. Yep.
And failure to abide by those kinds of limitations, I believe, makes the project the location red taggable by Sean and his group if they violate. Is that correct?
I think so. And I'll certainly go through this with Sean as well and make sure that, everything that we're putting in there is something that he can enforce. And, I never like to put a condition in that the zoning enforcement officer has a hard time enforcing. So, I'll certainly go through that language with him and see if we need to tweak it, or if it's just, just making sure it's got kind of the belts and suspenders. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My phone dinged. To make sure that the condition 1 makes sense and that he can enforce it. So, and that, of course, that it goes back to what's been in the public hearing and presented by the applicant's team.
Okay, related to the screening, since the building is not going to be built in phase one, and the original screening fence over on the right-hand side, as you come in, was to run from the back corner, I believe, of the new building. You need to have where it's going to run on the plans from the old building, so the screening is complete.
Yep,
Okay.
and I think, Mr. Chairman, I think, and again, I don't have the plans in front of me. I think Ralph had made notes about the location of that fence. I can go back and double check. If not, we can add it.
It was on there.
Yeah, we can add that. Again, I think the fence was tied into the new building, but
Yep.
it wasn't much of an adjustment to push it back to the existing building. Again, I understand your point, and we certainly want that screened up until the point that, because the building does screen quite a bit of the site, we want it screened in the interim. So we can certainly add that as a condition, and, I'll work through that language and go through it with the commission.
Commissioners, do you have any other input for Ms. Eminger? If none, I think.
Oh, wait, Kevin, I'm sorry, Kevin's got his hand up.
Oh, okay, Kevin?
How long between phases do they have? Can they just drag this out forever? Can they go and add all the storage and do everything they want and not build the building for another 6 years?
Well, they'd have 5 plus another 5 if the commission gave them an extension. The whole point of the phase 1 and phase 2 is to get all those site improvements in place, to get the parking, the screening, that fencing, trying to think of what else, drainage, to get those improvements up front. And then he can construct that building within that time frame.
So the large section that the building screens could never happen. If they don't build the building, they'll be able to do all this stuff and add all the equipment and do everything there without the building ever being built.
I'm sorry, Helen, go ahead.
No,
Oh,
no, I don't have anything to say.
okay. That's a good point, Kevin.
Well, Jennifer, that's the point of having a screen go all the way over in the new building,
Yeah,
because that pretty much screens the whole yard from there. Because off to the left of the building is not much to screen.
right. But I think Kevin's point is, there's a lot of this stuff that's supposed to happen inside the building. So what happens in the interim, right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's my point, because over the last, 20 years, so I used to live over that way. This has kind of grown and grown and grown. Are they just doing this again? Are we going to go through this whole thing that they're not going to build the building?
Jennifer, I've got an input on that. Just because they haven't built a building doesn't relieve them from doing their cutting and mixing inside and repairs inside the building.
Because right now they
Right.
do a lot of repairs outside the building, right in front of it. So will they lose the ability to do that?
That's part of the restriction.
So will they lose the ability to do that once we move forward with this? Is the name all of a sudden going to be in a pickle? Are they going to put themselves in a pickle where they can't do the repairs and rebuild a trailer right out in front of the building like they have?
No, they can't. They're not going to be able to build it in front. There might be some slack to do it in behind, but my opinion is no, they can't do something out in front at all.
Because they can do it out in front now, or they're doing it and not getting in trouble for it.
Well, they'll get in trouble from now on.
Yeah, I think, I understand your point, Kevin. I need to work through that language. and I need to talk to the zoning enforcement officer as well as the project team and, see what their time frame is, for getting that building up. There's no footings, there's no concrete that's being laid. It's a metal prefab building. So at what point will they be putting that building up? Maybe there's a condition, that, the phase 1 work starts within, 3 to 4 months and, and until that time, until the building's up, then you can't do X. Because again, part of the commission's approval to allow all of these uses was a lot of it was supposed to be happening inside and located behind the building. So without the building, then you've got all these uses that aren't being screened by the building.
Well,
So
that gives them an incentive to get it done.
Yep.
yes. So I will continue. I will work on that language. I hear you, Kevin, and I completely agree. So, yeah, I'll come back with something. Again, I'll talk to Sean Harity, and we'll work through some of that language.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's going to kind of fall on Sean to be able to enforce something or do something.
Yeah, I just want to
Exactly.
hear, I just don't want to hear the applicant come back and say, well, we've been doing it that way. Well, after this approval is done, what you've been doing doesn't mean anything.
Yep. Okay. So again, I'll continue to work through this language. I don't know this will be ready for the next meeting. It's a complicated approval. And I want to make sure I get the language right. So, yeah, I may end up having to push it to the first meeting in December. So just so the commission knows.
Do what you need to do, Jennifer.
Okay, all right.
Any other comments? Anything else from you, Jennifer?
No, thank you.
Okie
Thank you for the
dokie.
input.
Let's move on down to, we have an 824 referral in the October City Council agenda, number 4, acceptance of city roadway and Corner Pond Court in the Pondview development. Would you like to enlighten us, Ms. Imminger?
Yes. Thanks, Ward.
Thank you.
Yes, so, sorry, the commission received a 824 referral from City Council from the October meeting for a request to transfer road to the city. This is Corner Pond Court. If the commission recalls, back in 2014, you approved Pondview Estates, which was a 12-lot subdivision with a road, Corner Pond Court. So the applicant has finally finished constructing. He put down the final course, I think a month or so ago. And as part of that process of, of turning the road over to the city and the city accepting the road, there's a whole process. We don't do it very often. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that we've done it since I started working for the city. So, but this is part of the process. The request goes to City Council. They send it to us for the 824 referral. They'll send it to ad hoc. And then if everything is satisfied, then City Council will accept the road. All the legal documents will be in place. And then the applicant will request that the letter of credit be released. Again, not until the city accepts the road. So with this acceptance, there's several drainage easements in favor of the city. That's part of that roadway construction, part of that, the acceptance of the road. Staff has no objection. So the engineer, as part of this process, the engineering department, goes out there on a routine basis and monitors the construction of the road, how it's, how water's handled during the big storms. The storm that we had, the hurricane we had in August, revealed a couple little minor issues with ponding and, grades were a little off. So the engineering department went back to the applicant and requested a handful of changes be made, another inspection of one of the ponds. So that's the correspondence dated October 27th. Those are the minor, the minor issues. Again, nothing that would prevent me from, advising the commission, to give this a positive. Staff has no objection, provided those outstanding items are resolved and all final plans and documents are to the satisfaction of Corporation Counsel. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Jennifer, you said this is not usually done. It's very infrequent that we, accept roads as part of subdivisions, I guess. And so my question is, why this time? I mean.
Well, again, and the only reason we don't see them is because we don't have a lot of subdivisions with roads. We'll have a couple, 2-3 lot subdivisions or a re-subdivision. It's been a while since we've had a subdivision with a road. That's what I was implying, not necessarily that we don't accept the roads. It's just, we don't get these big subdivisions with these roads. We just don't get them anymore.
Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yep.
Anything else, commissioners? No, hearing none. I will entertain a motion for either a positive or a negative referral, up to your choice.
I'll make a motion for a positive referral.
I'll second it,
Second?
Kevin.
Oh, sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Kevin, I'll second it.
Any comments, commissioners?
So with the associated conditions, blah, blah, blah.
There we go. There we go. Always catching the fine print. Thanks, Alan.
Well, we just discussed them, so I'm sure it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, that needs to be said.
Yep.
Are you good with that, Jennifer?
Yep, thank
All
you.
right, very good. I'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes for a referral, a positive referral.
Thank
Okay, let's see. We have a correspondence, well, new business that's going to come up later, the 83A referral, but that's not handled tonight. We have a correspondence letter from the Connecticut Department of, I guess it's called DEEP, regarding some discharge waters from, Mankind. It's for information only and references. And that is it for this evening, unless Ms. Imminger has anything else.
No, I do not. Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing, close the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all
Is
in
that Bob
favor?
or Perry? I'm sorry, Bob or Perry did that.
Perry.
I'm taking this one, Perry.
Okay, I'll give it to you, Perry.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or absent, abstains?
Extension.
All right. This
Thank you.
meeting is
Well done.
adjourned. This
All right.
meeting is adjourned. Thank
Well
you.
done.